welcome to the course. I'm very glad to have everyone here in the course, and it's very good to have this opportunity to get together, even if it's in a virtual way. We try to prepare the course, a course that would be very useful for each one of us. And the main idea is to share thoughts and experience we had with this change for a new teaching model. For the course, we have 3 days. Mainly, each day has 2 sessions, and in the 3 days, they are organized more or less the same. The time is exactly the same, and the first session is more practical in terms of filming, video techniques, video editions, and some tricks, as well as some issues related to security. All things that are really important for video and online teaching. On the second part, we'll have different experiences from teachers of lessons learned during the last months or almost a year. Experience with students, good things that happened and problems that came up during the shift to 100% online. How each teacher got around the situation to solve some of the problems like not losing students on the shift of this new situation, and not changing the teaching quality.
Today, we look at video in a bit of a different way. I think we all agree with this. We can all agree with this, that video is perceived a bit differently today. So what are videos used for? In education, videos are mainly used for lecture capture, where you have the speaker and the presentation. You can use it for explanatory videos where a teacher explains a concept, a topic. This is much of the presentation you already know from 2018. Software tutorials, for instance, teachers or instructors can use video to show how to use a specific tool or a piece of equipment that it's required to use during the classes. Also events, recording events, such as this one, for instance, and online streaming webcasts. This was the way we used to use videos. So let's do some numbers breakdown. This one is on Panopto. Let me just put here the laser pointer. Okay. So just to briefly summarize this table that you're watching now, you have the time frame, the sessions. The sessions are the videos. Each video is 1 session. The recorded hours for the specific time frame, views and downloads, and viewing hours. This is the time students dedicate to watching videos.
So one of the main questions that was asked was, is it legitimate to force students to keep their camera and or microphone on during synchronous lesson? And we think it's not legitimate because there's not a strong enough reason to make this imposition. The lesson can be given, well, we're talking about interact, so a synchronous lesson. It's not mandatory that the student is with their camera or microphone on in order for the lesson to proceed. So we don't think it's legitimate to make that imposition. Also, if you have a lesson, a big number of students attending that lesson, it could lead to an unequal treatment of students if you make that imposition because of the increase in internet traffic during the session with all those videos, and given that the students may have different access to internet bandwidth. It would depend on their economic situation or geographical location. So we think it should be a choice of each student and it should not be imposed. Another question was about recording the synchronous lesson to make it available asynchronously to the students of that class, if some of the students could not attend for some reason, for instance, or even to a broader audience. Well, we think it could be done. Of course, if it does not include any interventions from the students, if it is merely an expositive lesson or a video that was pre-prepared and it has no contents from the students themselves, there's no problem.
March 2020, suddenly teachers found themselves in the contingency of adapting their teaching resources to this new context. And in most circumstances, the classes that were given face-to-face started to be given synchronously, but at distance. In fact, events happened so quickly that there was not enough time for teachers to adjust the contents to a new paradigm that in itself requires a reformatting of pedagogical contents. However, and despite these limitations, as teachers were at home and with fewer professional in-person requests, they were able to provide more support to students during this phase, as they could provide more interaction. Many students reported in internal pedagogical surveys that remote teaching ended up being more profitable in some circumstances than the conventional teaching system.
So remember, one of the main objectives of the practical part of this discipline is to improve fine manual dexterity, it's hard to say. So, thinking outside the box, I paraphrased the sentence of the moment, #stay at home. And then, with the Moodle support, I created a task. Threw them a challenging homework called #practice at home. Basically, they had to do a practical exercise creation with the materials and the instruments or tools they could get at home, and film the execution of that creation with their cell phone or with a computer camera or whatever they had. And the instructions were, as you can see, making a short film with a minimum duration of 1 minute up to 2 minutes. They had to do the support in one of the possibilities that the Moodle could give us to upload the films. And they could do anything they wanted. There were a few mandatory conditions, mainly the material should have to be metal, wire, or ribbon. They could use anything, wires from bags of frozen foods, wires of champagne bottles, electric wires, whatever they could. They could also mix any other materials, but they had to use metal and a pair appliance of any kind, domestic or professional. And the most important thing was to give priority to execute something that appeals for fine motor skills.
Related with it. And in this graphic, you can see that we have 3 types of students. One of them are weak students, so usually they don't have good grades. They are classified as a D and an E. There are the fair students, C, and there are good students, A. And what I did, or what we did, it was to check the time that they invested in watching the videos that I provide to them. And here we have the students that didn't see the videos much time, less than 30% of the videos, so they are low. This group of students, they saw the videos, and they saw between 40 and 100%, and students that saw very much the videos. They saw more than 1 time each video. So in this graphic, what I would like to say to you is that seeing the videos were very, very important for the weak students. So it's something that I realized that the videos are not important or not very important for the best students because they didn't improve their grades by watching the videos, but it made the difference in students that have low results. I would like to finish with this comment of one student, and I think that we need really to develop methodologies that could be used in our class and can answer to the student that has more difficulties to acquire the knowledge and also to have consistently results. Okay, thank you.
After choosing the platform and the technological tools to use, some teachers struggle to use them. The most successful teachers were the ones that took advantage of any training or training resource materials offered in their own universities or offered online. In the present situation, it's very important to look for training that not only focus how to use the online software from the technical point of view, but also offer some insights into approaches to teaching and learning and designing for an online course. Be aware that these technologies are here to stay. You cannot ignore them. You cannot left behind the advances of your profession, and you should keep up and stay informed. The next challenge was to choose the most appropriate format for the classes. Teachers have to choose between asynchronous, synchronous, or both. Be there for your students. Being present digitally for your course is the most fundamental and the most important of all practice. Your students want to know you as a person and as an expert. They want to know what you think based on your expertise and experience. They want to know that you care about them, that you care they are learning. Since they can always see you in person, they want to see and hear you through your words and audio and video message. Cultivating social, teaching, and cognitive presence supports effective learning and the development of a mutually respectful and intellectual community that often lasts well behind any learning experience.